full disclosure, this is the first time I've had to present sort of in a silent disco type format. So this is it's kind of fun. I like it. So I'll make a quick introduction here. My name is Peter van der Westhuizen. I know that's a pretty long last name and a mouthful. I'm originally from South Africa, which explains the last name. But I lead partnerships for Linnworks in North America. And today, we're really going to talk about operational excellence. A lot of times, our main focus as we look at our businesses is really how do we focus on the front end, drive more revenue, drive more conversion, really personalize that experience for a consumer when they come in. But in today's session, we're really going to talk about what happens after we've sort of hit that buy button, right? And how do we focus on what happens from an operational standpoint, specifically around inventory management, warehouse management, marketplace connectivity, but also warehouse management too. So a quick poll here for the audience. How many of you are here from a retail company? Got a couple there. Logistics? Yep, 1 or 2. And then how many here is a vendor participating? 1 vendor, there you go, I like it. E-commerce operations manager. A couple e-commerce managers. Anybody on the supply chain side of the business attending? Yep. Good. I like that. Good representation all around. This last part, I'm going to guess. I'm just going to go through EMEA. Anybody from EMEA? APAC? All US, which is to be expected here. So operational excellence is not this. Which I didn't hear the sound of that if anybody didn't either, but really kind of making a joke and showcasing what we don't want to happen when we try to create a good experience for our consumers. But the reality is we're juggling a lot of things, right? When we think about operational experience, we're juggling our consumers' expectations, right? They want to engage with us where they like to engage with us, whether that be on social media, on multiple marketplaces, our website directly, in stores. They want their goods to be shipped within the timeframes that they expect them to be shipped. And then there's your business expectations, right? You're focused on profitability, efficiency, and growth. And then you have your partner expectations, your vendor expectations, managing your your fulfillment partnerships, and so on and so forth. And then lastly, there's your family expectations, right? And then the expectations around how am I impacting the environment as a whole. So let's dive into what is operational excellence. And so to answer this question, you could Google it, you'll get a very specific businessy answer, but we decided to take a different approach, and we went to our 3 of our best customers. We asked them, what does operational excellence mean to you? And they answered, making the easy things faster and the hard things easier. The left hand knowing what the right hand is doing and vice versa. And then balancing the levers, cost, customer, and the environment. So expand. As I mentioned before, a lot of you are really just dialed in on that growth opportunity, but we're going to focus on the buy button, where that opportunity really is, right? If you're thinking about expansion, digital is the thing that comes to for the forefront for me. Consumers want to engage with us where they want to engage with us, so we need to be available where they want to engage with us, right? Would that be TikTok, Amazon, eBay, depending on where the specialty is and where the opportunity is for you. And from that perspective, omni-channel growth is really a massive opportunity, and I think where we feel the opportunity is. And if we look at the trend, right, COVID happened, or pre-COVID, e-commerce is already on a good upward trend. COVID happened, we saw a massive spike, and then now post-COVID, we still continue to see really strong growth trends, kind of to the point where in the US, we think 20% of all retail will be e-commerce, and by 2027, it'll be 20%. In 2023, currently it's 15%. So really good, strong growth trajectory there. So where do consumers want to shop? To help answer this question, we actually surveyed 2,000 consumers and 1,000 retailers and asked them that very question: where do they want to shop? And overwhelmingly, the response was, on marketplaces. Right? We asked them if they want to shop in catalogs, physical stores, marketplaces, or websites, and 51% of them said marketplaces was where they wanted to engage with your brand and shop. And about 19% said your website directly is where they want to engage with you as well. So we've clearly defined that omni-channel is the growth opportunity and where everybody's sort of leaning in. But it's not easy, right? Omni-channel is complicated. Trying to adhere to all of those various channels, their SLAs, how to be successful, right? Doing one thing on Amazon, right, where you could list a certain way, it's definitely not going to work on TikTok Shop, which require a completely separate strategy. And to bring some of those into some real world examples, I use the TikTok Shop example. We actually had a customer that was able to utilize TikTok Shop to run a promotion. And they did it so well to the point where they weren't able to fulfill, right? I think they had an influencer pick up one of their products, try to sell it through, and they just weren't really prepared for that growth, right? And that's that complexity that I mentioned. And so working with us, they were able to repeat another promotion and actually be pretty successful in their endeavors. Some of the other challenges are marketplace SLAs, right? You want to avoid penalties with these marketplaces if you're not adhering to sort of their expectations and their SLAs. And then also their expectations around the customer experience. You need to be able to ensure that you're adhering to what the requirements are for each marketplace. And then the last piece from a real world example standpoint is multi-channel sync, right? You want to be able to have a clear view of all of your inventory across all of the places that it's available, but also be able to share that information with the marketplaces that you're running into overselling or stock out kind of situations. And that kind of brings us to automate. So like I said, we focus on growth, but at this point, what happens when the buy button is pressed? Like, are you completely ready to fulfill that order in a seamless way that creates a great experience for your customer? And then, the complexity with this looks different and comes in a lot of shapes and forms. Whether it's a simple 10 orders per hour, 100 orders per hour, 1,000 orders per hour, being able to manage that, being able to manage those decisions as they come in. If you're doing that manually, it becomes very difficult to manage a lot of those decisions, especially at scale. You could have some changes from an order perspective. I don't like that color. I don't like that size. I need to change that. And then there's sort of challenges around staffing, right? If you have a lot of manual processes within your order operations, and let's say, heaven forbid, bad case of COVID hits the warehouse, you're kind of in you're exposing yourself. There's a lot of risk that comes with that. And then there's also weather disruptions, right? The recent examples with the hurricanes that we've seen is how do you manage those weather disruptions so that you can still create great consumer experience for those that aren't impacted? How do you automate your order routing and not have that be sort of a manual process? Then you also want to think about your shipping partners, right? Do you have the right shipping strategy in place? Do you have the right carrier relationships? Maybe you're working with a shipping aggregator to help drive down that cost. But from a shipping standpoint, you really want to look at shipping optimization. How are you using that to adhere to the consumer expectations while not eating into your profitability as much as you are, right? You really want to focus on optimizing that flow as much as possible. So back to a couple of real world examples here. We actually had a multi-channel brand that had a lot of manual processes. They started working with our platform, and as a result, they were able to automate quite a bit and drove 6x growth as a result of that automation, to the point where they were able to grow that much with a fourth of the staff that their closest competitors had. Your decision making, I spoke about this a little bit earlier, but when you have a lot of manual decisions that are being made within your order processing and order fulfillment, it really slows things down, and there's a lot of risk for manual and human error, right? We are people, we make mistakes, and so you want to be able to automate everything that you can automate, drive efficiency, but also that allows you to scale your business. Without that, you can't really scale effectively. Which also gives you agility, right? The ability to create those automation rules on the fly gives you agility to be proactive and really react to things that you think are going to be issues in the future. And all of that really results in happy customers, right? And that's really what we're all looking for. Happy customers, they had a great experience. There weren't any issues with their orders, which builds trust, which builds repeat business, as we all know, and is a really important part of this. And then we want to look at control. So we had a lot of representation from almost everything, sort of every single part that I explained, from an e-commerce manager, retailers, vendors. Show of hands, how many of you have a 3PL, a warehouse, and are fulfilling on FBA? There we go. We got one over there. How many of you have a warehouse and a 3PL that you're working with? Right. Couple here in the room as well. And I think that really is what we're talking about when we look at control. Being able to control and know how much inventory you have in all these different areas, right? Imagine you have a brick and mortar store. You're fulfilling on FBA, WFS. You have a warehouse internationally. You have 3 warehouses in the US. You need to know where all that inventory is at all times, but you also want to know how much inventory your suppliers have available. So you can really control the flow of inventory and have confidence that you aren't going to run into any issues down the road. And then there's the pick and pack component and driving efficiency there. E-commerce is really taking us from that pallet methodology where you're shipping to that brick and mortar to that single package scenario. So you want to be able to really manage that effectively. You also want to, you might need FIFO methodology within your warehouse. You may offer kits, require kits and bundles based on what you're selling and how you're managing your business there. But it all comes down to warehouse efficiency, right? And being able to manage that as well as you can, but also make it simple, because we know seasonality is something that comes into play as well. And we need to manage those processes with newer people and be able to train them on the system. So whether you're outsourcing some of these things or whether you're doing it in-house, maybe a combination of both, you really want to have control in terms of visibility into where all these things are, so you can control the flow of inventory, which is the key there. So back to the real world examples. As you guys can tell, I love the real world examples we keep bringing back here. But again, I think I spoke about some of these earlier, going from single picks to, that are very relevant in e-commerce versus the pallets that are being shipped, really being e-commerce focused. And again, I'll point at that seasonality piece once again, right? That simplicity where we all know holiday and peak is coming up right now. We're going to have a whole bunch of staff that we're going to be hiring, getting them ready for the influx of orders that we're expecting. Being able to have a simple system in place, the right processes in place to ensure that all of those orders are getting out, that's going to be a really big advantage for you during peak. Compliance comes down again to avoiding those courier fine and those late date delivery penalties that you'll see from marketplaces. And then inventory, having that visibility of all of your inventory in real time available across all of the places that you need to view it at. So let me tell you a little bit about Linnworks and who we are. Linnworks is a connected commerce operations platform. And what that means is we really centralize inventory management, order management, warehouse management, and marketplace connectivity with over 200 channels. So you can manage all of that within one platform, which really allows you to automate a lot of those workflows, automate those processes, and allows you to focus on the things that we sort of defined are really important in the beginning of this presentation: growth and engaging with your consumers in the way where they want to engage with you. From an overview standpoint, 14 years in the business, helping merchants really succeed, with 81 million orders processed during peak, 242 million orders processed annually, 18 billion in revenue, a little over 4,000 customers and 30,000 users. Kind of rely on Linnworks to help them drive efficiency and operational excellence with their businesses today. So here's a great video. There is sound, but I can't hear any of it. So we'll let you guys just have a look. So that's it for my presentation. If you guys would like to learn more about Linnworks, feel free to find us at the booth after. We'd be happy to walk you through our platform in a little bit more detail. With that, I'll open it up to any questions. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Don't be shy. All right, I'll kick it off. You talk about a connected commerce ops platform in your presentation. What exactly is this, and fundamentally, what is it doing for the customers?
Yeah, I mean, it comes back to the core themes in the presentation, right? The expand, control, and then the automate, right? The ability to do all of those things, really control the flow of your inventory, really control how much inventory you have to ensure that you're able to manage all of those things seamlessly and automate those processes. And then also the expand piece is the growth opportunity, right? Being able to expand into multiple marketplaces and continue to grow and evolve your business without having to worry about, the operational challenges, the complexity that inherently comes with that.
All right. Anybody else?
I think I did a great job. Nobody has any questions. They fully understand it, and everybody here has their processes in shape, automated, ready to go. I know it's a tough one. It's a hard problem to solve, right? Especially with peak coming up. It's definitely something that keeps a lot of our customers up at night. But we're here to help if you guys need it.
I'll throw another one at you. What kind of expansion can be supported by an improvement in operational excellence?
Yeah, from an expansion standpoint, right, think about I answer that sort of in two ways. One is when you're automating a lot of those processes and you're not relying on people to have to do those redundant tasks or make those decisions, and you've given them more time, they get to focus on growing the business in other ways. You're able to reallocate the resources, right, that you're paying that staff to find new creative ways to grow your business, right? And also doesn't require that you need to hire more people to manage a lot of the manual processes in place. And then the other part is, as we spoke about earlier, is that marketplace expansion, right? There's a lot of new trendy marketplaces that are coming out. Shein is one where we just have an integration with them that launched a couple of weeks ago. We have Temu that'll be live in Q4. And a lot of these marketplaces are offering really great commissions for customers to really come on board and be able to leverage those and drive new channels and new growth, right? Especially if you're on the Shein side looking to engage with, women who are 14 to 44, right, and have a really strong Gen Z, customer demographic. So new opportunities, new market expansion opportunities is the other part of that expand equation.
I'm going to keep looking at you guys.
It's okay. It's after lunch. I know it's tough, right? Nobody has questions after lunch. It's fine.
All right. Well, how about something on automation? It really does come in many forms and can stretch from the sublime to the ridiculous. What guidelines can you offer an organization when it comes to embracing automation, and how far should we really take it?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's a really personal kind of question. It really varies depending on your business's needs. But I think anything that can result in human error or is redundant that can be sort of automated should be, right? Right, because if human error just exposes you to unhappy customers, which impacts your bottom line. So really just digging into, how do I automate some of these things that are just really simple that should be automated. An example I always like to use, if you are shipping like lithium ion batteries, those can't go and be shipped via air, right? And so having a rule in place that just automates that so somebody doesn't have to go in and manually do that every single time, that's the real value there, and being able to dig into what that means for your business.
Yeah, like don't get too fancy. All right, so the control aspect of your recommendation, is this purely for in-house operations? What happens if you're working with a partner and you have outsourced all your warehouse facilities? Is it still viable?
Yeah, I mean, if you're working with partners, even more viable, I think in my opinion, right? Because even though you're working with that partner, it comes down to controlling the flow of inventory. And so you want to have that visibility, even if you're working with a partner, to see what that flow of inventory is, how much is available, and what adjustments you need to make to ensure that you're not running into stock outs or overselling scenarios. that could negatively impact your business in a big way.
Which of the following do you support first and foremost with your platform? Cost control, customer service, or sustainable solutions?
It's a combination of all those things, right? In terms of just creating a really great experience end to end, right? From a cost control perspective, I think we spoke about the automation requires that you have less people who need to do a lot of the things manually that you require them to do, which means you're bringing down your cost and you're reinvesting those resources elsewhere to continue to drive growth. From a automation standpoint, again, it comes down to, am I routing my orders? An example is, am I routing my orders as efficiently as possible from, warehouses, really trying to get that great Amazon-like experience, right? That's why we all like to shop at Amazon. I know my stuff's going to be here in at least 2 days, if not the same day. And so am I efficiently routing all of my stuff, and do I know where I have enough inventory, ready to go? And then that inherently leads to that, lower impact on the environment. We're not shipping something from the East Coast over to a West Coast customer, which results in an unhappy customer. We know that we have the inventory here and we can fulfill it efficiently. I think that's really what it comes down to.
Anything from the audience? All right, I got another one for you. So peak season is upon us. What does it look like to implement with Linnworks? How does that really, how do you get started with an organization? And, is, I don't know, 3 weeks out to Thanksgiving a smart time to start?
No. 3 weeks out from Thanksgiving is not if I told you yes, everybody, he's lying. There's no way that that's a smart decision at all. No, it's not. I think the real consideration right now is obviously to really double down on what you have in place, but then learn from it, right? Like, to have a look at what worked, what didn't work, and then where can I drive more efficiency, right? I think there's a reason that we have a lot more people calling us at the beginning of the year after peak than we do leading up towards peak. And that's just, they've learned from what worked and what didn't work during that particular peak season, and now they're trying to take advantage. But in general, if you want to get started with Linnworks, feel free to go to the website. I would say book a demo and really dig into, does the platform meet your needs and offer you what you need? And then from there, once, if you did decide, yes, you want to move forward, it really varies, right? The onboarding time is anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks, depending on your complexity and what you need. And the way that we handle that is we actually have sort of an onboarding team that works with you, sets your operation up the way that you help define it. So it is a sort of very hands-on process, and then also trains your team on how to use the system. And then that will really set you up for success as you move forward, and so hopefully drive some more efficiency and growth for your business.
All right, I got another one. As new marketplaces sort of pop up, how do you guys stay on the cutting edge of that? How do you make sure you're building the integrations to the right spots?
Yeah, we're constantly evaluating new marketplaces. As one of the leading marketplace connectors in market, we typically do get first look a lot of times in terms of either building the integration and or them wanting to build the integration to Linnworks. And so that's kind of what I do in my role, is really have my thumb on the pulse of what that new opportunity is. What do we see working very well, and then what are the niche opportunities as well, right? It's not all about the big mass opportunities. I mentioned Temu, Shein, and TikTok Shop are ones that we've seen really have a lot of popularity right now and a lot of traction. But we also have a lot of just other marketplaces. Back Market, for example, is a really great example where they've exploded in the refurbished electronics category and seen a lot of success there. So.
All right. Anybody got any questions? I'm running out. Is there anything we didn't ask you that you want to touch on?
Nope. I think we definitely covered a lot of ground here. And if there's anybody interested in learning more about us, we'd be happy to chat with you. I wish everybody a very successful peak season. I know it's coming up here pretty quickly, and it's definitely an exciting time of year. And so, go find us if you want to continue the conversation and chat a little bit more.
Thank you so much, Peter.